registration desk. Okay, it's 4:30, and we will keep the session on time. So it is my pleasure to welcome all of you to the closing plenary for Delivering for Nutrition 2024. Honestly, I can't imagine that 3 days have already gone, and we are now in this closing plenary session. For me, this year it was, D4N is always amazing, but this year what was the highlight for me that I remember 5, 6, 7 years before, we used to struggle to have gender balance in our panels. And this year we had so many panels where we had just women sitting, or a majority representation of women in the conference. So I just wanted to flag this, and I wanted to say this before we begin with the conference plenary. So all power to all of you, and yeah, that was the highlight for me for this conference. So without any further ado, I would like to call on members of D4N core technical team who will be presenting the conference summary, and they are representing the entire core technical team. It comprises of Samuel Scott, Neha Kumar, Shweta Manohar, and Shreya Chakrabarti. So on behalf of the core technical team, may I request Samuel Scott, who's a research fellow in IFPRI's Nutrition, Diets and Health Unit. Please come on the stage. Next, we have Neha, a senior research fellow, again with IFPRI's NDH unit, and Shweta Manohar, a research fellow and a nutritional epidemiologist whose research has broadly focused on multi-sectoral programming and policy to improve nutrition and food security in LMICs. Since Shweta was not introduced in any of the earlier session, I wanted to give that introduction. So over to all three of you for the conference summary.
All right. So because we've been sitting all day, we're just going to shake things up for a little bit. I'm going to ask you all, well, first, before I do that, I would just like to ask Shreya to stand up just to acknowledge that she's been part of this core committee and pouring hours into this work. So yes. So Shreya, stay standing, because everybody else is, I'm going to ask everybody to stand. And in the spirit of connecting dots and connecting people, I'm going to ask you to look around you for someone who you don't know and just introduce yourself, just to take a minute and to get your blood flowing for the closing ceremony. So, yeah. No. Okay, we're going to slowly bring it down. Hope you have made a new connection somewhere in the room. Okay, we're going to sit. All right. All right, great. So, are we good? Maybe. No. Okay. Some of us are technologically challenged. Okay, so I'm glad that we all had a moment to connect with each other. So really, part of the essence of the conference is connecting people. And we really hoped to build a conference that provides opportunities to connect in different ways. So there were different types of sessions, from the research presentations and talks to rapid fires to networking opportunities, as well as interactive learning labs, and this hybrid space that allowed people who were not here in the room to participate. D4N is also very much committed to promoting equity, so we try to do that in different ways. For example, that there's no registration fees, and we really tried hard to offer financial support for people speakers coming from different spaces who needed that support. Also, we have participants from different places and backgrounds that we bring to this conference and to share their unique perspectives. And so we have really different profiles of people in the room, and coming from academia, from NGOs, from government, as well as the private sector. And we try to reflect, further this diversity in the keynote speakers that we had, who was a journalist and also a chef. And we just really want to appreciate their. It will move around. Oh, there we are. Okay. We just want to have our keynote speakers stand up. I'm not sure if Chef Zach's in the room, but I do think that Mr. Sainath is. Thank you. And I think we can all agree that the kind of diverse reflexivity they brought to our discussions was really appreciated. And so with that, we're going to we had a whole session of polls, or a whole set of polls, where we asked the attendees some of their reflections. And to start with, we have, So it seems like close to most of the audience felt that they learned new tools or approaches for data analysis or use that could help them in their work. And 81% of the attendees said that they felt D4N has improved their awareness and actions for supporting healthier diets, which was a very promising thing to hear. We did also ask if, in everyone's opinion, how well these different stakeholders from different sectors are working together to improve nutrition and food systems in South Asia, from listening to the different discussions that have been going on over the past few days. There does seem to be some room for improvement of connections across different sectors. About 40% thought, people were doing a good job, and then there's 28% who thought that we were doing pretty well. But there were still those that thought close to 20% were either neutral or felt that it was poor in terms of how stakeholders from different sectors were engaging with each other. And then when we asked this about different stakeholders, so those from academia or NGOs or the government, it seemed like there was some room for improvement there in terms of how well we're collaborating with each other. So 22% of all of you thought that we are doing really well. 32% thought we were doing well. And then there was about 16 that were neutral, and 10% felt that we were either doing poorly or very poor. So in terms of potential solutions, so we will feature more details about some very interesting, and there were numerous solutions that were suggested by the audience about how we could do better about being connected with each other. But it seemed to fall into these broad categories of either, more opportunities for collaboration and networking, policy and governance, implementation and innovation, more action and engagement across different issues, to have more supportive funding for the work that we do, as well as maybe some more inspiration to allow for some of these, for us to feel more connected with each other and problem solve together. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Sam.
Thank you. Okay, these are the dots that we started out with. And the challenge for us in summarizing this was, what kind of connections do we see being made across the conference in the past 3 days? So what we're going to attempt to do is give examples of connections that we saw. To start out, if we don't connect the dots, we don't know what to look at. This is the night sky with stars. So when we make connections, it reveals different patterns. And we also know that we're continuing to discover new dots. And as we discover new dots, we're continuing to make new connections. And the more connections you make, the more complex it gets. So here's some of the connections that we saw. The first one that we wanted to highlight was on drivers of diets. So on the left, there's an agricultural production, and then goes to markets and diets. But we also have behavior change and equity and social inclusion affecting that relationship. And we know that there are so many different drivers of diets. In terms of climate, we heard about many different types of linkages. Climate affects all kinds of things: food availability, access, prices, water, and then social protection and health systems kind of need to step in to play a role and address some of those impacts. And in terms of the health system, we heard that community influencers are key for nutrition interventions such as iron, folic acid, MMS, and so on. And then it's also important to build evidence on the feasibility and acceptability of these interventions, and not just think about impacts. Over to Neha.
I'll just take a moment to, I'm looking at the room and it's deja vu. In Nepal, we had a full room on the second day of a very busy conference. Today is the third day and the room is still full. So I just wanted to reflect on that. All right. So in terms of social protection's role in promoting nutrition and equity, we find that SBCC, so social behavior change communication, is a key component in social protection programs, a point that Purnima made earlier in the morning, but it came out throughout the conference. And an important thing that we found, that data coverage, data is lacking to kind of estimate coverage and for also targeting programs a little bit better, so we need more of that. And in terms of equity and social inclusion linkages, there were lots of connections, exemplifying the cross-cutting nature of this particular theme. And we did find there were a number of dimensions that were covered: gender, life cycle, such as adolescence came up a lot of times in many of the sessions, location, context, so slums, urban, rural, caste dimensions, but there are quite a few other dimensions that can be covered, which were not there yet. And then in terms of linkages with agriculture, we found production diversity is good for diet diversity. Market linkages are important for mediating these effects. And inclusion of women in value chains can have multiplier effects. So these are some of the linkages that we found. But in the presentations, we also, the presenters themselves identified some of the missing links and said, well, you know, if there was behavior change communication in these programs, it would make it much better. If the policy and the governance environment was better, it would actually amplify things. So some of these things came out in the sessions themselves, and there's a lot more reflections that we need to do. So much work remains. So reflecting about more missing dots, what are the connections that we didn't make, and then the connections that we did make, because we can't assimilate everything in real time, so we need to do some reflection. Simplifying systems and frameworks. When systems are connected with multiple things, they become really complex. So we need to simplify them to understand them better. Speaking a common language across stakeholders. We all talk of systems in very different ways. So coming up with a similar or a standard or something that we can understand. And then leveraging new tools and technologies to strengthen this communication. People are using different formats, media, and messaging tools. So how can we do this much better? And then moving from problem description, I think a lot of us know what the problems are, to testing some solutions so that we can say that this works and this does not work. And then lastly, building capacity in systems thinking and problem solving. So yeah, what's the next one? Okay, so we have some special remarks from some special guests. Isha, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you for the concise, trying to capture the essence of the 3 days into your slides. I know it's very difficult, and hats off to you that all of you did that so beautifully. So now, for the closing remarks, I would first like to invite Dr. Shahidur Rashid, who's the Director for South Asia Office, part of the Development Strategies and Governance Unit, and is based in New Delhi. Can we have Dr. Rashid on the video? Shahid, over to you. Okay, we are having some technical issues. So in the meanwhile, can we invite our second speaker for giving the closing remarks? We have Shakuntala Harak Singh with us, who's the Director for Nutrition, Health and Food Security Impact Area Platform, CGIAR. She was awarded the 2021 World Food Prize for her groundbreaking research and landmark innovations in developing holistic, nutrition-sensitive approaches to aquatic food systems. Over to you, Shakuntala. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you so much. Firstly, let me congratulate IFPRI and the 30 co-hosts in bringing us all together, a diverse group of policymakers, researchers, experts, many students, and practitioners in this common venue to deliberate on diets and nutrition, and to expand the conversation to include other systems. Delivering for nutrition success over the years shows that there is still much to understand, much to unpack, and as we have heard from the conversations we have had here before, there's also much to learn, and I think also some to relearn in the areas of nutrition, health, and food security. All these are more pertinent now as we strive to make progress towards food systems transformation, and still as much of South Asia faces hunger and malnutrition, and bear the brunt of unprecedented disruptions such as conflicts, climate change, as well as the big disconnect between different sectors, as we've heard about. In these 3 days, we have heard from speakers from various backgrounds, journalists, chefs, policymakers, and the message is clear. The cost of inaction is more than the cost of action. The evidence and the data that we have seen in the past 3 days show us that we have the ability to move the needle towards positive nutrition outcome in this region and beyond. From the various panels, it is clear that we do know what and where are the dots for connection. Moving forward, we need to answer the how. How do we effectively synergize these different actors across the food systems framework to deliver on positive nutrition outcomes while minimizing trade-offs, bridging inequalities, and very importantly, leaving no one behind? We started this conference with a very interesting story from P. Sainath on the offering of milk or tea in different vessels as indicators of affordability, availability, and accessibility of foods in communities, and taking into consideration very much culture and heritage. Let me close today with a personal history or story on the transformative power of nutrition-sensitive approaches through my work in Bangladesh. When I was a young researcher, building up my career in Bangladesh and mainstreaming the consumption of small fish among women and children in rural communities, with, of course, high rates of infant mortality and malnutrition, we did not fully realize the impact until we returned sometime later, were warmly greeted by the parents, and mainly women, at the riverbank, and more importantly, that they were waiting for us to present their children. And the term that they used was Shukti Bacha, which in Bengali means healthy, well-nourished babies. And they talked about how getting supplementation of small fish in the diets while they were pregnant enabled them to have children which filled them with hopes for a better future for their children. And when we talked to the leaders of the communities, they said to us, you don't have to tell us which women received the supplement in their pregnancy. We can see it from the children, that these were the women who received the supplementation. So the message that I want to bring across to you is that the work we do today is not just for the now, but create impacts across generations. The investments, the agenda, and the priority setting and implementation of actions that we do now or plan to do in the near future must be cognizant of the values they have, not just for us, but for future generations. For many nutrition and food system practitioners in the room, 2025 will be an important year for us. Global events such as Nutrition for Growth in Paris, the International Congress of Nutrition of the IUNS, and the UN Food System Summit Plus 4 stock-taking moment should benefit from the rich conversations that we have engaged in the past 3 days. In closing, let me acknowledge everyone who has participated in this conference, both here in person and virtually, and taking the time to learn, listen, and act for delivering for nutrition. I would like to congratulate the organizing team for bringing together such a wonderful conference here in Colombo, and I look forward to the 2025 Delivering for Nutrition in South Asia, and possibly another convening, for example, Delivering for Nutrition in another region of the world where we work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shakuntala. That's a lot of pressure, but thank you. Do we have Shahid Bhai on? Okay, so I will hand it over to Dr. Shahidul Rashid now.
I have been here. Can you hear me, Asha?
Yes, we can hear you and see you very clearly.
Fantastic. Thank you. It was wonderful to listen to Shakuntala. So I'm thankful that we had a technical glitch. So very good late afternoon or early evening to you all from New Delhi. It is indeed a pity, real pity, that I couldn't make it. I had to cancel my ticket really last minute and was really disappointed about it. And then I became sad last night around 9:45 when Dr. Purnima Menon suddenly appeared on the screen for IFPRI senior management meeting. And she said, I came from the dance floor at the D4N conference. I thought, oh my God. So this is what I have missed. If my memory doesn't fail, this is the 7th D4N conference. It had a very humble beginning, I think. It started as Delivering for Nutrition in India. If I recall correctly, we had roughly about 30 to 35 participants in Delhi and a handful of partners. Now we have 30 partners, 300 participants. That's the number I'm getting from just the door. And then it has gone beyond the border. not only that, it brought together various aspects of the overall human development. We talk in the food and agriculture policy arena, we talk a lot about the food system transformation. And yes, it is important, but at the end, what is important is the human development aspect of it. So when we say delivering for nutrition, what do we exactly mean? I can tell you what I mean, what I take it from here. What I take it from that line is this: take nutrition seriously in your development agenda. If you go back 30, 40 years, in the national accounts, public expenditure, you will see a line item clearly specified for nutrition intervention. That is changing. That itself is a huge accomplishment. And my hat off to the nutrition community, people like Purnima Menon, Shakuntala Tilsted, and all of the colleagues, Mari Rual, Harold Alderman, the ones that I know, I'm naming them, but there are many more, who made this happen. Now come to the context of South Asia. Why is it important? What do we mean by delivering for nutrition in the context of the South Asia? From the global development perspective, the nutrition agenda of the Sustainable Development Goal, hunger goal, zero hunger goal of this SDGs cannot be achieved unless South Asia achieves that. That is a tall order. And what we need to do is look at underlying principles for why we are getting together. Why we are getting together is very clear. We are creating a platform. And historically, we know that we can form platform group only when we have a convincing stories and fact to tell. This is true for religion. This is true for scientific revolution. It is true for political revolution. You have to believe in something. That's when people will get together. There's the amazing quality of human being. And then we act to make a difference. I think this community has grown, reaching a critical mass, and then it will be time to take actions that can make a difference. Then the question is, how do we do that? A lot is already happening. We are talking about connecting dots today. We are talking about the multidisciplinarity of the nutrition intervention today. We are bringing colleagues from different sectors. These are already essential ingredients for achieving the ultimate target, where nutrition intervention count in the global, national, regional development agenda. So it is happening, but the question is, what do we need? I know we have tons of discussion now. It is time for us to crystallize what do we need in terms of data, what do we need in terms of outreach, what do we need in terms of advocacy, so that we can deliver for nutrition in the future. I have a lot of faith in this group. The no shortage of enthusiasm, no shortage of courage, no shortage of ability to take this. And these are all essential ingredients for bringing together a community for change. So my hope would be that this energy that is created, the momentum that is created, it continues from the development partners, continues from the colleagues within CGIAR, as well as broader international development partners. Let's stay in touch and try to make a difference. In terms of the concrete step in the future, hopefully, we can also bring together some of those regional platforms and the global platforms for nutrition in this event in the coming years. So,
Shahid,
yes,
can you wrap up, please? There's a party going on right next to us, and we hear the bass go really loud.
So, okay, I can wrap up without saying anything else, but I'll still take 30 seconds, okay? So, let's all come together to not connect that, go beyond connecting dots, define our actions in terms of the data need, in terms of the policy action needs, so that energy that you have created, platform that you have created, can be effective in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Shahid. Great. Thanks. So next up are the prizes. Maybe that's why we have a full room. People are in expectation. So we have 4 categories. First is the top scoring abstracts, which were determined after the abstract reviews was done by the larger group that reviewed the abstracts. And by the way, we were not aware of who the person was when we were reviewing abstracts. So the gender of the person presenting was not part of the selection, so it was completely blind, just saying. Best session presentation, so these are selected by chairs after the sessions. Then D4N technical committee pick, that's us, we picked 1 person. And then daily reflection poll lottery draw, which was drawn randomly from the polls. Can I?
Okay, before we start with the prize distribution, can I have our local Sri Lankan co-host, Dr. Renuka Silva and Dr. Nisha Arunatilake join us on the stage with us to give away the certificates?
So that, huh? You want me to stand? Oh, why don't you come up? Yeah, please. Yeah, no, we can all stand. Isha's telling us to stand. So we have 5 abstracts that were selected as the top scoring. So I'll read out your names. Please come over to the stage. Take your certificates and we'll get a group picture. So Sujan Sapkota, Melinda Mastan, Pavan Kumar Patil, Aklima Parveen, and Sabiha Sultana.
Could the winners stay up front so that we can do a photo at the end? Can we get the slides back?
Melinda and Sabia, are you in the room?
Can we get the slides back on the screen?
Yes, if anybody's from their organization, we request you to kindly take their certificate back home.
Oh, okay. It's on the screen. So next we have the Best of the Session Awards. So here we had the chairs of the session pick the best presentation. So we have, again, come up, Shalander Kumar, Leela Bikram Thapa,
Not here.
Sujan Sapkota, Anjali Ganpule Rao. Please come up.
Come, come, come.
We also have Alka Chauhan, Sharvari Patwardhan, Verda Salman, Nilofer Fatimi Safdar,
You're here.
and Tanea Dutta Gupta. Please come up front.
Go, 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 go.
And there's day 3. We have Muhammad Mabubar Rahman. Please come up. Afsana Habib Shuli, Menik Dedara Purnima Sujiva Ratnayaki, sorry, and Khadija Vadsaria. But I hope you could hear what I
Guys,
said.
keep clapping, please. You all know how much effort it goes in putting those presentations together.
I don't know. Should we move on to the- All right, our next award was the technical committee pick. So this was Neha, myself, and Sweta who chose our pick, and it's Anisha Gunaratne. Please come up. And the final award was for the poll winner, and we have this randomly chosen, Mohammed Mokbul Hossein. Congratulations. Maybe everybody could come up,
Anisha, can
Take
you
a-
please come up?
group photo.
If you're in the room, can you please come up? Makbul. Right. Okay, can all of you please line up for a group photo? Some can stand down, some can get on the stage. Okay, can we have a big round of applause for all the winners? Yes. Okay, while the photo is going on, can anybody from GAIN collect the certificate for Sabia Sultana? Is there somebody on behalf of Melinda Mustan, Society for Nutrition, Education and Health Action? Thank you. Can we have the next slide, please?
And I'd like to invite Purnima on the stage. So Purnima will finish us off with some additional important thank yous.
Wow, that was quite a party. Thank you all so very, very much. I think we started the conference acknowledging the fact that we had 30 co-hosts this year. Every single one of those co-hosts has played a critical role here, whether it's being part of, I think the Delivering for Nutrition team brings them together for every 2 weeks for about 6 months before the conference kicks off. So they participate in planning meetings, they review abstracts, some of them contribute funds, they spread the word about the conference. So really incredible gratitude to all of you for being part of what is really building a community of people who care about making change for nutrition in the region. We invite you, if you'd like to co-host, we invite you to reach out to us for next year. And we can certainly explore that. But special thank you to also the co-hosts who funded parts of the conference. I really want to call out several CGIAR research initiatives. This is a true cross-CGIAR research conference collaboration, so much gratitude to many of those, as well as to ANH Academy, the CGIAR centers themselves, the Government of Canada through Nutrition International. To those of you who came to the conference with all expenses paid as speakers, this is thanks to the generosity of many of these. So please, a big hand to those who brought funding, because that funding is actually really crucial to the equity mission of the agenda. I also want to extend some special thank yous to Jamin. Can you stand up here for us? Thank you. And I don't know where Ariz is. Ariz, the beautiful graphics and communications that you see on this conference are very much thanks to the efforts of Jamin and his team and Ariz. It wouldn't look as beautiful if they weren't with us. It would be just a bunch of researchers mucking around with PowerPoint. So thank you so much. And again, to those who reviewed abstracts, session chairs, presenters, learning lab organizers, volunteers from co-host organizations, all of you who attended, our event productions team, thank you very much. And certainly also to the hotel management, you've all been incredible to work with. It's been a great venue, so thank you so much for that. Next slide, please. Please, I think, I am going to ask everyone to stand up. We need to stand up. Can you guys come here, please? Julie, I know you love it. Come here. Yes. We have something very small from IFPRI for you guys. Thank you. No certificates? This is how it happens, everyone. This is how it happens. Thank you so much. That's it? All right. Well, thank you all, everyone. In closing, I just want to say, for the last few years, I've been using the term policy community, and we have been using the term policy community when we think about how problems get solved. And I've had many people outside of our group say, well, why do you call it a policy community? Isn't it policymakers? And I said, you need to understand that policymakers don't act alone. They act when the community reaches a tipping point and says, listen, this is a problem we have to work on. This is a set of solutions we want you to deliver. This is a set of things we need financed, we need to reach people. And so, let us not think that the problems that we seek to solve here are done by somebody else. As members of the policy community, every single one of us carries the responsibility, the tools, the capabilities that we need to bring people together to solve wicked problems. And so, I really invite you. I think we're all part of the D4N community. You're part of the transformation, the nutrition transformation communities, the climate change transformation communities in your own countries. And what we love about D4N is that everybody comes here bringing commitment, excellence, and a passion for what they do, with whether you're a researcher, whether you're a member of whether you're a policy maker, really, there are some of them in the room too, whether you're an implementer, a funder, a communicator, every single one of us is bringing the absolute best that we have to give to the problem that we seek to solve. So I want to thank you for your commitment to doing that, to joining us in this journey. There is a long road ahead, but it gives me great joy to just see this incredible community from South Asia here. I think we live in a region where the politics don't always enable us to come together. And so I'm really grateful that we can create these opportunities to connect, people, as Aarti mentioned earlier today, people with a shared history, a shared culture, and a shared commitment to, taking this region that has been ravaged in many different ways over many different years and centuries forward to a future that should be this region's to own. Right? So thank you all so much. The conference is officially closed. There is no more dancing tonight. Apologies. To next year.